Sometimes we do the thing where like, what am I, a baby? Like I need a whoopee? Like, yes, maybe you do. That's perfectly fine. Okay, hi everybody. Thanks for coming back if you've been here before, or hi, welcome if you're new. My name's Mickey, I'm a therapist, and we talk about therapist-y things on this channel. Today, we are talking about depression, which I know my affect is a little incongruent with this topic, but I wanted to talk about it because I made a video a while ago talking about ways to support your depressed friends or like depressed loved ones, and there was a couple of folks in the comments who requested some ideas for like how to support one's own self. So I think this is a useful topic to discuss. I do want to be super clear before we jump into it though. First of all the content on this channel is intended to be for education and sometimes entertainment purposes only. This is not therapy. This is not a replacement for therapy. You cannot therapize someone over the internet, first of all, and second of all, it's very illegal to do that. So not what we're doing here. There are always links in the description to find a therapist if you want one or if you need one. I have added a couple of new links to the description, by the way, so go check those out if you haven't. But I wanted to provide these in the hopes of being broad strokes learning about depression generally and about ways that might be useful to support yourself and incorporate these into your life. So let's get into it. Sorry, by the way, if there's like random loud noises. My neighbors are very loud and also seem to have an addiction to leaf blowing. So there's just like weird noise happening. Also, shout out to our new mic. Hopefully the audio sounds better today. While I pull these up, I wanted to remind you really quick, if you're not subscribed, go click the subscribe button. We just recently hit 100K, and so I'd love to have you stay and like join our little community. It's pretty fun here. Thing number 1 is to avoid alcohol. I know that this might seem like kind of like a controversial thing to say, or maybe like kind of a bummer thing to say. However, it is factual that alcohol is a depressant. And it's very common for folks who are on antidepressants especially to notice that depression symptoms the day after drinking, especially drinking heavily, you might feel more down than you normally do. This is important to be aware of. Even if you're not on antidepressants, alcohol is still a depressant and it can cause that shift in your mood. And so if you're struggling with feeling depressed, feeling down, just like generally not having a good time, alcohol can have some lingering after effects after we consume it. And so it's important to be mindful of. This is not to say that you can never consume alcohol or that you have to be completely sober for the rest of your life or the duration of your depression. It's just something to be mindful of and to have a good eye on how much we're consuming, how often we're consuming it. Also, just as a general PSA, if you feel the need to consume alcohol as a way to escape or avoid feelings, that warrants discussion, particularly with a therapist. So, be kind to yourself and just know that it can have an impact on your body and your mood. And it's, like I said, it's a good thing to be aware of. Number 2, don't judge your sources of joy. And especially go chase after them if you know what they are. This is a very common conversation that I have with clients, that therapists generally have with clients. We, as a human species, tend to get sucked into this belief that if something seems silly or it's like maybe kind of embarrassing or dumb or what have you, that we don't really want to give ourselves permission to go do those things. It's, again, very common in therapy for therapists to level with a client and be like, listen, I don't care if Color Me Mine is the thing that's bringing you joy right now, or watching oddly satisfying videos on TikTok, or eating chocolate chips out of the bag. Like, if that's something that's going to brighten your day and bring you some joy, give yourself permission to do that. I went through a period of time where when I was feeling a little bit depressy, a little bit burnt out, I watched a whole fucking bunch of content about this really wonderful man. His name's Luke Towan, by the way. Shout out to Luke, who makes model railroad videos. And it was wonderful. It helped me sleep. It helped me get better sleep. It calmed me down. It gave me time to be like present with my emotions and to be present in my body. And so if you're able to find those things, go do that. There are also a lot of wonderful ways that we can experience joy that are coupled with the release of endorphins. There is a fabulous human on TikTok. I'll show you the TikTok right now, actually. I wanted to include this because movement and like exercise, but like movement has the tendency to release endorphins in our body. And so a lot of folks take this to mean that if I go to the gym every day, then I'll just like never be depressed. That's not true. Please don't get sucked into that rhetoric. But joyful movement is a great way to help boost our natural brain chemistry. And so if you need to go outside every day for 365 days and do the electric slide, go off. Like, go do that. Give yourself permission to do that. And I don't give a fuck what anybody says, because if it brings you joy and it helps you get through the day and it makes you feel like happy and comfy in your body, you're allowed. Thing number 3, practice having open discussions with your safe people. I know that this might seem kind of obvious, but particularly when we're in the place where we're feeling depressed, it can feel really hard to do. Sometimes it is enough to just put that opening little tidbit out there for somebody that you love, because it can feel really overwhelming to sit down and like try to initiate a conversation about like, I'm feeling really depressed lately and I'd really appreciate some space to just like talk through the things. And so it can be as simple sometimes as being honest. When someone says like, hey, how are you? It's okay to be like, actually real bad. I don't really know if you're in a place to hear about it. But like, if I'm being honest, it's not going good. And if someone is a safe person for you and they do have space for that and it's an okay time, sometimes just that little invitation is enough for someone to give you space and to say like, oh, like I didn't realize that you weren't doing well. Like, what's going on? Let's talk about it. Or maybe like, I don't have time to talk about it right now. However, I do have time on Wednesday. So why don't we go get a coffee, or I'll come over, I'll bring coffee to you and we can just like chit chat, you know? I really want to encourage people who are in this place to give themselves permission to invite others in. Sometimes it can feel overwhelming to directly ask for that space, which is a good skill. And I want to encourage you to continue growing that also. But if this beginning step looks like just inviting folks into the reality for you, that's also okay. And also a really important thing to be doing. So give yourself permission to have those open conversations and to just be honest about what's going on, because you're not a bummer, you're not a burden, you're a human being, and we all go through mood fluctuations, and you are very much allowed to ask for space and support because you deserve it. Thing number 4, find some validating media. We talked about this a little bit when I covered Jeanette McCurdy's book, I'm Glad My Mom Died. I'll put that video up here. But if it is safe for you, if it's not going to be triggering for you or cause like negative impact, I do want to encourage folks to find media that's validating of what you're going through. It might seem kind of silly, and again, like maybe an obvious piece of advice, but hearing the stories of other people who have the same experiences as us really can do a number for us feeling at home and feeling safe and feeling allowed to feel what we're feeling. I think also the tendency with depression, particularly for support folks, is to try and shy away from it and be like, well, let's just find something that'll make you happy. That can be helpful, and it's an important part of like depression support. However, it's not always a useful tactic. And so sometimes really giving yourself the chance to sit with the heaviness of that emotion and to like really sit in the gravity of that is important. And it's also very healing in a weird way. Again, sometimes we tend to shy away from this, but I commonly give this advice, especially if we're struggling to really sit in it and our tendency is to shy away. Find a sad playlist or like a sad childhood movie that made you cry and give yourself permission to have that emotional catharsis. Even if it's not directly related to the thing that you're depressed about, just having the emotional catharsis can sometimes be a really important release, and can also be like a gateway to like really exploring like what is going on for me, what's happening for me. This is an especially useful tip, by the way, if you're someone who tends to have emotional blockages. Speaking from personal experience, you don't always need to experience emotion about the thing that you have issues with. Sometimes just experiencing emotion is enough to open that door and then give you the sort of like backdoor entrance into unpacking and discovering what's going on for you. Thing number 5 is physical touch. This one is kind of touchy. That wasn't supposed to be a pun, I swear to God. This one can be kind of a sensitive topic because physical touch doesn't always feel safe for all people. However, if you have a person or you're in a place where physical touch feels safe, it can be very, very helpful. The like fancy therapy term for this is co-regulating our nervous systems, but particularly if you're able to engage in physical touch with another human being who is safe and who loves you and that you love them, physically like touching their body to yours can do really cool stuff physiologically for us, and it can help quite literally calm our nervous systems. But physically touching another human being that you love sometimes isn't an option, or like in the moment maybe not, doesn't feel safe. So this also works with pets, particularly with cats. There's something about a cat purring that seems to be really soothing to our nervous systems, but pets generally, and like physical touch in any form that feels comforting, validating, soothing. This can look like a squishmallow. This can look like one of those cute little like weighted stuffed animals from Target. Can also look like really comfy and cozy pajamas or a blanket, or, you know, like a couch or what have you, like something that just feels soothing. I do want to encourage people to embrace this with an attitude of non-judgment, because also sometimes we do the thing where like, what am I, a baby? Like I need a whoopee? Like, yes, maybe you do. That's perfectly fine. I will be the first one to normalize in a non-judgmental and shame-free environment that sometimes I just need a blankie and to cuddle up on the couch and like have cuddle time. And that's perfectly valid and okay. And there is like real science behind why this is soothing to us. So if that's something that is helpful to you, please give yourself permission to go do that and like voice that to the people in your support system. This was only 5 things. There's a whole bunch of stuff here. If you guys find this useful, I will continue to make this content. So make sure you click the like button if you liked it to let me know that you want to see more. If you have other things, by the way, that seem to help you, please leave them in the comments, because we have a wonderful community of people here who are mutually supportive and validating of each other. So voice that in the comments. Let people know what are the things that you do to help yourself. If you like the video, subscribe to the channel. We do make stuff like this, and we do fun pop culture stuff every now and again. So I'd love to have you stay and share the video to help the channel grow and to help each other grow. And I will see you guys next Saturday. Okay, bye.